Coffee looks simple. One cup, one habit, one small pleasure. But behind it sits a global machine worth hundreds of billions. Who actually makes money from your morning ritual? Let's follow the bean. 1. Big picture. Coffee is one of the world's most universal habits. People drink it in homes, offices, street cafes, airports, gas stations, everywhere. Billions of cups are poured every day. When you stack farming, exporting, roasting, retail, and equipment, the whole system reaches roughly $500 billion. It supports millions of small farmers across Latin America, Africa, and Asia. It fuels shipping firms, insurers, ports, packaging plants, and grocery chains. Coffee is culture on the surface and economics underneath. It connects farmers to baristas, traders to consumers, and futures markets to breakfast tables. That mix of ritual plus scale is what makes coffee one of the most powerful commodities on earth. 2. How coffee became global. Coffee began in the highlands of East Africa. Trade carried it into the Middle East, where coffeehouses became hubs for news, debate, and deals. Europe picked up the habit, and colonial powers planted coffee across the Caribbean, Brazil, and Southeast Asia. A new global supply chain was born. Industrialization made it faster and more predictable. Steamships moved beans across oceans. Railways linked farms to ports. Roasters scaled up near cities. By the 20th century, the structure was set. Farmers to collectors to exporters to roasters to retailers to consumers. Coffee became one of the most traded agricultural commodities because it is light, storable, habitual, and addictive in the safest possible way. Demand renews every morning. 3. The supply chain behind a cup. Most coffee comes from smallholders farming just a few hectares. They prune trees, manage pests, and pick cherries by hand on steep slopes. Processing, washing, drying, or fermenting shapes final quality. After processing, beans move to middlemen or cooperatives. Middlemen offer fast cash. Coops negotiate better prices and handle logistics. Exporters grade, store, finance, and ship beans across oceans. Roasters take over near consumers. They design blends, roast to a target flavor, and attach brand identity to every bag. Branding explains why one bag sells for $6 and another for $18, even if the bean is similar. Cafes sell experience, speed, and convenience. Rent, wages, and brand transform a few grams of beans into a $4 drink. That's why farmers earn the smallest slice. They sell a commodity into a buyer's market, while retailers sell identity and comfort. 4. Why prices rise and fall. Coffee prices move for reasons outside your cafe. Weather shocks matter. Droughts reduce yields. Heavy rain disrupts drying. Heat waves push trees beyond comfort. Crop diseases like leaf rust damage entire regions and take years to recover from. When harvests shrink, global prices jump. Futures markets help roasters hedge, but they also bring speculation. Speculators add liquidity, and sometimes volatility. The cycle is predictable. High prices to more planting. Years later to oversupply. Prices crash to farmers exit. Supply tightens to prices rise again. At retail, a latte's price often rises for reasons unrelated to farms. Rent, wages, milk, utilities, and branding all matter far more than beans. 5. Who makes the money? Power concentrates near the consumer. Roasting giants control supermarket shelves. They have the scale to ride price swings and maintain margins. Global cafe chains win by standardizing the experience. Mobile ordering, loyalty programs, and prepaid balances turn coffee into a subscription model. Prepaid money on apps becomes free working capital. Grocery retailers hold power because shelf placement decides what millions buy. Private labels let supermarkets capture margins once held by national brands. Specialty roasters win by selling stories, origin, altitude, tasting notes. Narrative becomes pricing power. Convenience companies win with pods, capsules, and ready-to-drink cans. Hardware plus refills equals razor and blade economics. Across the chain, the closer you are to the customer, the bigger your margin. 6. Climate and the future of coffee. Climate change threatens the industry's foundation. Arabica prefers cool highlands. Warming pushes it uphill, where land is limited. Extreme weather will cause more droughts, irregular rains, new pests and diseases. Small farmers, with little savings or credit, absorb the shock directly. Adaptation, shade trees, irrigation, new varieties, takes money and time. The result is simple. More volatility, more risk, more price spikes. 7. Winners versus losers. Winners. Roasters and chains with strong brands. Logistics and shipping networks. Retailers controlling shelf space. Losers. Small farmers facing thin margins and climate risk. Traditional exporters squeezed by stricter standards and longer payment cycles. The value chain rewards scale and branding more than raw production. 8. What it means for consumers. Why your latte costs more. Labor plus rent plus utilities and GT, the beans in the cup. Specialty coffee is pricier because each step pays more for quality. Pods and delivery add premiums for speed and convenience. The more you outsource the brewing and waiting, the more you pay. 9. Data anchors. A few clean directional facts. The coffee economy sits around $500 billion. Roughly 25 million farmers rely on coffee. Global consumption is near 170 million standard bags a year. Coffee shops often keep around half of the retail price as gross margin. Arabica commonly trades in the low single dollars per pound. These numbers explain the stakes. And behind every cup, a long chain of choices quietly shapes its final price. A cup of coffee feels like a tiny pleasure. But it is also a ledger of weather, wages, rent, branding, and risk. As climate pressure rises and convenience reshapes consumer habits, the question becomes simple. Who should keep more of the value from your morning ritual, the farm, the brand, or the cafe? Stay curious, stay sharp.